Hello and welcome to MxM Live. We are delighted to have here with us Mr. Rohit Ohri, Chairman and CEO of the FCB Group India. I must make a confession here. In January 2016, when Rohit took charge at FCB Ulka, as it was generally popularly referred to in India, one of the questions I asked him in a television interview then was about the reputation of the FCB Ulka family, FCB Group here, of being a fuddy-duddy agency. A few months back at Goafest, I met the worldwide CEO, Carter Murray, who was here, and I asked him the same question. And that's unfortunately the perception that was there. It was FCB Group in India was supposed to be, was known as a very efficient agency, but not really a creative, strong one. You had clients who were there for donkey's years, ever since perhaps the agency was set up in India, in a matter of speaking. But it wasn't known as the, a happening agency. As, the bar behind me says, it was like an old monk, and not a young and 3-year-old or whatever it is, a single malt. 3-year-old malts are never really happening, but it was not known as a young and bright agency which was known for a great amount of work. Cut to 5.5 years later, we are now in August 2021, and Rohit took charge at the FCB Group in January 2016, and things have changed dramatically. And I must say that it has been driven creatively. A large part of this shift to what it is now, and hence I only thought it appropriate to interview Rohit here. We've been wanting to do this chat for a couple of years, but his office shifted from distant Nariman Point to even more distant conceptually and literally and conceptually Sakinaka. So one never really got out to doing that. And now, of course, the lockdown has happened. But delighted to have you here with us on MxM Live, which is our new format video interview series that we do. And I must say, I must take back my words.
Thank you. Thank you, Pradyuman. So I have another confession to make, right? So you are actually an inspiration for us, right? So after that meeting, so when I joined and you did that interview with Carter at Goafest, right? Where you told him fuddy-duddy agency. So this fuddy-duddy 2 words have got imprinted in his head, right? So when Carter came out of the meeting with you, he took me aside and he said, when I come back next year or in a couple of years, if I hear those words fuddy-duddy again, I'm going to kill myself, right? So that was actually became quite something that everybody in FCB was talking about. I made a presentation at our global summit where the CEOs from all the FCB offices across the world were there, and the title of my presentation was "From Fuddy-Duddy to Killer-Diller." Right, that's the move, and everybody knew that there was this journalist in Mumbai who told Carter about the fuddy-duddy agency FCB was, and that actually then became quite a leitmotif in every conversation, saying that this is what we want to change, and thank you for that, because you actually set a challenge in a way, and that to my mind actually has been in every conversation Carter and I have, we talk about the fuddy-duddy agency. Now that said, I think it'll be unfair. This is our 60th year in India, right? We're celebrating 60 years of operation.
I have this book which was released in the 50th year of India 2061 when the FCB Group turned 50. So 60 years, congratulations.
Yeah.
But
60
years
years
is a big journey.
Yeah, and it's a long journey. And Pradyuman, there are hardly, 40 to 45 companies in India who've actually traversed this, and celebrated 60 years in India, right? So to my mind, I think that's the true testimony to the fact that this agency has been built on a rock solid foundation with Anil, with, the previous management team of Ambi, Shashi, Arvind Wable, Nitin Bhagwat, they and of course Nagesh Alai. So, they actually have really built the foundation. Yes, of course, things changed. And I think before I took over in the last 2-3 years, the agency had kind of lost a bit of its sheen and lost, its creative edge. FCB has always been doing some really fabulous work. If you see some of the work that they've done, historically, they've been really cutting edge work, which has worked in the marketplace, whether it is Indica or if you look at Santur, Mamika Magic or Whirlpool, so there's been work that has really worked in the marketplace. And that's the reason why clients have stayed. Like you said, clients have stayed for donkey's years. And quite honestly, clients are not donkeys, right? So they're here because they saw value in the agency. That said, I think my challenge was really to bring back that, what you said, the creative spark, and that's at one end we wanted to do work that worked for our clients as well as was recognized around the world, because that truly sets a benchmark for you, saying that if Cannes is the Oscars of advertising, then we need to kind of ace that. So and we did, over the last 4 years, we've been the most awarded agency, not just at Cannes, but at every single award show across the world. And I think that's been a fantastic team effort. I think the beauty of it actually, Pradyuman, is not that, I came in and I changed everything in the agency. That's really not what I did. It was really a mixing of what FCB stood for with the new direction that we wanted to go into. So the old and the new, you harmoniously knit the two. And I think that actually is the secret of transforming organizations, because an organization that has been around, has a deep-rooted culture and a belief system. You can't just change everything, because that actually destroys what the brand stands for and what the the culture of the organization has been. You can infuse it with new energy. You can infuse it with a new direction. You can make it more vibrant, more like what you said, youthful. All that you can do, but you build on a foundation. You don't destroy the foundation. And I think that was something that I recognized, and I said that's really what we need to do. And that was the big move and shift. And I think it was just a question of getting people to say, this is not the direction of the future. This is, right. And it's like part of my presentation, I'd said, these 1 degree changes. So you make 360 or 180 1 degree changes, right? It's the 180 1 degree changes that actually create a whole new world, but you don't make it all at one shot. You make those 1 degree changes over a period of time, and slowly, it's a whole new direction for the agency.
Great. Tell me, if you were to look back, what was the turning point in these last 5 years? What do you see was the turning point in the, if I might use the word, agency's fortunes in terms of perception, from this whole thing of being a fuddy-duddy agency to what was the word you used? Tiger.
Killer-diller.
Killer-diller. So where was the turning point? Where did it change tracks?
So the thing is that it's called when you start believing, that's the moment when you can change everything. So the interesting thing was, and this is part of the whole journey of transformation is when I took over. I moved into my office in Nariman Point, and then in Sakinaka, where I had this big shelf in front of me, and on that shelf there was nothing, right? Not like what you have behind you. It's like stuffed with books and other objects, but it was completely empty. And the only thing I had on that shelf was a rubber duck, right? The rubber duck which you have a bath with, children have in the yellow rubber ducky. So I just had that rubber duck in that long shelf, and everybody who came to my room, my creative directors, the account management people, planners, whoever came, they used to be kind of amazed, aghast, kind of shocked by this, saying that, what is that? And the amazing thing was, every time I used to come back to Delhi, the cleaning person would clean it out, because they thought, this object can't belong here. So and then I used to come back and say, where's my rubber duck gone? And then they used to find it, and they'd thrown it away in some corner and bring it back. But the rubber duck was really a symbol, because when everybody asked me, what is that? Why do you keep it there? I said, this is really about, it's the target that we have, which is we want to win the biggest award show in the world, and we want a can lion. So this rubber duck will go the day a lion comes in its place, right? So that was the whole, and it wasn't easy. Like when you look back, it seems like a great journey, but the first 2 years were a struggle, because we were reorienting people, we were getting them to believe that yes, this is the journey that we want to take. This is the path that we believe in, right? So a lot of people had to be kind of, persuaded and inspired and move to, this new direction. And I think, the day we won the gold at Cannes, and I was there with Swati, and it was her campaign on Sindoor Khala which won. And when we walked on stage, and that year we were the only agency from India to do the stage walk, right? So it was fantastic, because then when I brought that lion back and put it on that shelf, and we did this little video which we circulated to all people in FCB, that the duck finally moved and the lion came in its place. And everybody actually believed that, yes, this is possible. I mean, it was the first lion that FCB won at Cannes. And, in a long history of, successful advertising in India. But that then became a belief, because every time a young creative used to pass by the gold lion, he could touch it, right? And when you touch it, it's possible to do, and everyone can do it, right? So that was really what we actually told everyone. And you won't believe this, Pradyuman, in Delhi, we moved into a new office, and I created a space with a vision for 5 years, saying that, here's a pillar, and this huge pillar, which is in the center of the reception, I've created like shelves on the pillar. There are multiple shelves, and there are 360 shelves, right? So they go all around the pillar. And I said, hey, that's good for us to win awards for the next 5 years. And you won't believe it. It's full. There's no place to put anything else. And everybody's laughing, saying that now you need a new pillar. So between, almost like 100 elephants and we have now 9 lions, right? And, there are award shows galore that we won, the Grand Prix at Spikes, etc., etc. So it's really something that transformed, it's a switch that suddenly people say, it's not impossible. And that belief, that when you believe that I can do it, we can do it, each one of us can do it. And that, I think, was something that we managed to change. And, in 2020, 2021, FCB interfaced actually with Robbie, stormed the award shows across the world, right? They thanks to the work that Robbie's done, we were India's most awarded agency network for 2020-2021. And that's a fantastic achievement in the 60th year.
But obviously the focus is on receiving awards, and for an advertising veteran like you, how much do awards play a role in an agency's life versus the final award for an agency is the client being happy and the client's profits going up thanks to your advertising. And how much does advertising play a role? How much do awards play a role in an agency's life in terms of perception? I do understand that these awards help change the perception of the agency, but in terms of in your view, how much does an award, how important is an award for you?
So a really good question, Pradyuman, because that's something that is a question that we always seek to answer, right? Because just winning awards is not good enough, because they finally, what I think is the most important thing is creativity has to be an economic multiplier for our clients, right? It has to result in better fortunes for the brand and better fortunes for our clients. So that is critical, right? So the way I look at awards is that it sets a benchmark, right? So it's like, finally it is by, the big walk on a fashion show, right? So I'm doing that walk. It's work that people look, appreciate, and say, wow. But what that also does is it pulls the rest of the work up, because it sets the benchmark, saying that's the benchmark, right? So when you set the benchmark really high, then all the work then measurably moves up. So for instance, over the last, the proof of the pudding is really in how you've actually built the organization, right? And has that led to transformation in terms of business fortunes? And I think it really has, because the number of new businesses that we won like significantly big, large new businesses, like Lakme, like Google, like Uber. So there've been very, very large businesses that have come to us thanks to, I wouldn't say directly, clients are not going to say, okay, you won, at Cannes, and here's some business for you. But I think what it does is it energizes an agency, right? It energizes an agency. It puts a strut in the walk of every creative person and every account planning person, every account management person. There's a strut, and what it eventually does is it builds momentum. The hardest thing in an organization is to build a momentum which is created through belief, and that we can do it and we can achieve. And what happens then is that in everything there is a momentum, right? The way you pitch, the way you present, because there's a sense of pride in the organization, and that I think is invaluable. Momentum is, in my book, the biggest thing that you can achieve. And I think FCB has momentum in India right now, and that's something that I'm furiously trying to preserve, even in this very, very hard time, of the last 2 years with this pandemic. So, but I'm happy to say, we've got a great team, and people are really putting their shoulder to the wheel.
One last question on this, before and after thing is, and if you're doing an interview with me, I have to ask you one controversial question. So, is there something that you would say was a culture, or was a line that you inherited and you changed post that? Is there one defining thing that changed from before you took charge, or even while you took charge, and to what you changed after that? That, hey, this is something that we would do earlier, and this will not happen in the FCB, which is going to be uh, having a chest full of awards and clients, etc. Was there one thing that could change?
Yeah, so the one thing I would say I did definitely change in the organization was really about empowering creative, right? Was giving a voice to creative and bringing them into the center of the agency, right? Because I think the most important thing is we are a creative agency. Our creative leaders need to have a very strong voice in everything that the agency does. So it's not just about putting the creative product in the center of everything we do. It's also the creative leadership, right? So they need to feel that sense of, empowerment, that they have a voice and they can change things in the company. That to me is a very, very big, significant change, because till then, FCB did have creative people, but the dominant force used to be the business managers, right? So the account managers were really the people who ran the agency. In many ways, creative had become like almost a resource, right? Versus being the center of the creative agency. And what I've also done is, if you've seen recently, I've created the trio of partnership, which I think is the key to success of every successful large advertising agencies. Like we have a CEO, a CSO, and a CCO in equal partnership, right? So it's not that the CEO has a voice which the account, the chief strategy officer doesn't. So they have, in fact, the interesting thing is, yesterday I was in office and I was listening to one of my CEOs talking to her partner, which is the chief strategy officer, about some problems that she was having in account management, right? So with account management resources. And I thought that was wonderful, because that's truly what a partnership is. Because, she's looking at her partner, which is the chief strategy officer, who has equal stake in the office, and the chief creative officer has equal stake in the office. They have an equal voice. And that, to my mind, I think it's the sure shot recipe of success. I mean, I've seen it work so many times. You can't create an imbalance. The moment you create an imbalance, which is, I'm account management driven, what happens is then everything then becomes, lopsided. So that it becomes a point of view that is being pushed forth. And I think that is not, and that was actually, to answer your question very specifically, that was the only one thing that I changed, was really about bringing the creative voice loud, center of the agency.
Rohit, partnership is a great thing to talk about, and it is obviously everybody likes to hear it. But the fact of the matter is that this is a creative agency, and where you have, apart from ads and the work that is being done, but a host of egos that are at play, right? And each of them thinks that the final offering is great because of their work. How do you ensure that, while you have placed these heads at the same level, how do you ensure that there is a certain semblance of order in the whole thing? You've been through the entire world yourself, so you know how it has been elsewhere, and how do you ensure that it's still successful and it works for you?
So, that's really organization culture. That's really what culture is all about. And that's why, we say culture trumps strategy any day, right? So it's the kind of culture that you build in the organization, which is really about openness, about transparency, about no politics. And quite honestly, that was the hallmark of FCB when I took over, right? It was an agency which was very work oriented. There was no politics. There was no people trying to bring each other down. I think the beauty of it was really about everybody working together. And if you see, quite honestly, as an agency, we don't have uh, prima donnas in the agency. We have everybody who's in the work. They're doing their job, and they're doing it in a way that facilitates greatest work and greatest partnership. And I think
as you win awards,
it's really culturally, the culture is really what dictates that.
As you win awards, you will be creating prima donnas, right?
I mean, quite honestly, if you see, today the most awarded two creative directors are Swati and Robbie in India. They are not prima donnas by any stretch of imagination. I mean, I have to work with the both of them to tell them to, be more visible and to be up there. Swati does a lot of it, but Robbie is somebody that I really have to push. So the prima donna culture organizationally doesn't exist in FCB.
You are one of the perhaps only CEOs of a large agency which is based in Delhi, right? You based in Gurgaon and Gurugram as it's called now. And of course, you do visit Mumbai often enough. But does that really help the fact that you are in a different city and you are in a city which is perhaps not home of advertising, though it is home for a host of clients? Does that really help in any way?
So the interesting thing is that was firstly in today's world that question is irrelevant. You know that, right? In the last 2 years have taught us that geography is absolute history, right? So there's nothing about where you are and what you do. And I hope that's one big change that will happen going forward, because quite honestly, I feel that, and that's my absolute belief system, that a client should be able to access the best talent of a network. Doesn't matter where the talent is. It should be available to the person. But specifically on your question, I mean, what's been my experience of actually being in Delhi and in Mumbai? Quite honestly, it's been fantastic because, I have two CEOs and now they're vice chairmen, Robbie and Joe in Interface and Nitin Karkare in FCB Ulka. They're managing the agency pretty well. One of the issues we had was the Delhi office had actually, before I came in, it had lost some key businesses, and it was kind of, in a bit of a, tight spot. And I think that's something that strategically what it made sense was Delhi is also a very, very big market, right? From an advertising perspective, it may not be, like you say, the home of advertising, but it's a really big market because all the new economy clients are here, right? So this is the big market. So between that, managing, and in any case, I was in Mumbai 3 days a week and 2 days in Delhi. So it worked out really well for us. I think the pandemic has actually shown me the futility of some of the things that I was doing, going and traveling to Bangalore for one meeting for 1 hour, spending a day and a half on flights in cars, stressed out about whether I'm going to miss the flight.
Absolutely. We couldn't do this interview for 2 years and now we are doing it via Zoom.
And that's classic, right?
Tell me, but you're talking about culture. The fact of the matter is that Delhi Gurugram culture is more of a bhaiya ye kar do, and in Bombay you say, boss, let's do it. What is your view of that?
So the thing is that's a culture which is basically there when you talk about people, when you look at our clients, and that's the culture that I'm really interested in, because this is a business conversation that we're having. Clients are from all over India, so there's nobody, you can't say that these are homegrown Delhi people in this. Of course, I mean, if they're local businesses, they would have some of those. But largely, I mean, we are dealing with the Unilevers, the GSKs of the world. They have a wide variety of people. And then in Mumbai, also there are a lot of people from Gurugram who moved to Mumbai, right? So who are working there, and it's a melting pot. So the thing is, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with their businesses. We have this multinational agencies on the one hand, and we have iconic Indian clients on the other. Amul being the flag bearer of that. And
I was just looking for a possible headline from you. So there's just throwing a question just in case. But knowing you, I know you're not going to be giving me one of those smart replies which I can convert to a briefing. But cut to where we are now. Is there anything that is giving you sleepless nights? Is there something that would perhaps want you to pop a tranquilizer?
I know. Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be foolish if I'd say that, oh no, everything is hunky-dory and things, there is obviously with the pandemic, there's been an enormous amount of stress on the business, and, rightfully so. There are a lot of our clients who've suffered enormous amount of business loss. And as a result, obviously, the advertising spends have come down, or the fees have been renegotiated, etc. So also clients have then, started understanding that maybe we can manage with less, you don't need to, because the, overall, I think the mood and sentiment was lower. But, so coming out of the pandemic is really the big thing. To me, the big concern is, and that I think is fundamentally the challenge for all organizations, especially for a creative business, is that, if this working remotely is great, it's efficient, it's economical, but it's not, the best for a creative business, because a creative business requires, that physical interaction when you're meeting each other, brainstorming, and that's when ideas multiply, magnify, and that whole culture is built, the creative culture is built. So to my mind, I think the longer we work remotely, the culture of the organization is slowly getting depleted, because very hard to build this culture online. You can maintain it, but you cannot build it, right? So that is actually the thing that worries me the most, is as we have so many new people in the company, do they all see the vision the way we do? Because we obviously have town halls, but the thing is, you do a town hall on Zoom or Teams, it's not the same. You don't feel that energy, you don't feel the connect with the people the way you actually feel, because you are telling everyone, switch off your microphones and switch off your cameras, because the bandwidth becomes an issue. You have 700 people on the call. It's impossible to take everybody's questions. I just feel that when I had taken over, I actually addressed the whole office in Mumbai, and we had to hire a banquet hall in a hotel, right? And that was fantastic, because I'm a people's person. I get my energy from meeting people, from inspiring people, from talking to people, from learning from all the people I work with. So I feel that is something that I'm worried about the most. Is, it's like a fixed deposit, the culture, and we've been withdrawing it over the last 1.5 years. It's time now to feed that fixed deposit again, because if you don't feed that fixed deposit, finally you'll have nothing, right? So that's something that truly worries me. And I'm hoping that, with the vaccination all in place, we'll be able to go back to office in the fourth quarter of this year.
Yeah, but the working together, the drinking together is, Bombay still has its restaurants and pubs shutting at 10 p.m. So without, the tipple in the evening and, getting duly inspired by conversation, it's a little tough. You've just taken over, acquired a digital agency. While I think that was a frontier that you were looking at. While the IPG group has a digital presence, has some agencies which are doing digital, but the FCB network did not have a trueblue digital agency. Tell us more about the Connect acquisition. Is it, first of all, what is the acquisition? Is it a full acquisition? Is it a minority acquisition? It was being spoken about. I remember being told by somebody that it's going to happen before the lockdown last year, and then I was also told that it is blown over. But once again, conversation started again. So, tell us a little more about the deal itself.
So I mean, I'll talk about the deal in a second, but I think the important piece is, the point that you were making is really about, having a strong digital presence. And that was really the vision that we had. And we started this conversation almost 3 years ago with Connect. And then, unfortunately, we were all ready to sign, but the lockdown happened. And that actually, then there was a big pushback from IPG, and rightly so, because people felt that we don't know what's going to happen right now, right? So a lot of the smaller agencies or independents were kind of had a very severe impact of the lockdown and the pandemic in the client spends. But
I remember receiving a communique from your office in October 2019 of a project which you all had done, Project Sridhan, with the Connect. So obviously the relationship was brewing at that time. It was almost.
So the good thing is, and that actually really worked for us, is that despite the fact that the entire deal negotiation went on the back burner, the thing is, because I had a great rapport with, I have a great rapport with Rohan and Chandni, and that was something that we continued, almost intuitively over the years, while we were continued talking, because culturally we felt there was a good match between the two companies. Also, from a perspective of caliber and capabilities, they were really, really good. So it kind of worked. And then, when the thing started easing out, we actually went back to IPG saying that, here is businesses that we're working together, and look at the synergy, look at the additional, revenue that we've actually generated in the process, as well as, the quality of the work that is coming through is really significantly better. And that actually convinced IPG to bring the whole deal back on the front burner, and then we managed to close it. The thing is, this is a deal spanned over a period of time, and currently we have a minority equity in the organization. Obviously, as there are certain milestones that have been put as part of the deal, and as we meet those milestones, we will look at a full.
In your past, you've done some acquisitions yourself at Dentsu, for instance, a huge big one. So you obviously know a trick or two about
two.
it.
Actually, two. I did Taproot and WebChutney.
That's right, and both of them have done fantastically.
Phenomenally. Yeah.
Though of course, Aggie has moved on, but moved on partly, at least officially, full time. But so this is, as you said, a minority stake, a significant minority, or a majority minority type, as in something. Sorry,
it's a minority stake right now. The initial piece is really a minority stake, and then
could you give a number, or you would like to avoid that?
No, we don't give the number really, but suffice to say, you'd understand from a minority stake is that the the vision is really, obviously we have a complete absolute faith in Connect, and I believe that they have an enormous amount of potential. They've grown to India's largest independent digital agency, and they've done fantastically well during the pandemic. So that, I think, is cemented our belief, and just to make sure that this is done quicker than later, we actually enter down a minority, and then there's a vision and a path to full.
Is the office going to shift to Sakinaka, or will it be where it is?
No. There's currently going to be no change really in Delhi, for instance. We are almost co-located. It's the next building. So in Gurgaon, we are co-located almost. In Mumbai, they are in Lower Parel and we are in Sakinaka. In Bangalore, we are also co-located almost. There's just a next door building. So I frankly feel that these conversations about bringing agencies together and bringing them into one building and stuff like that, this is so yesterday, because today's vision is basically collaborating on a whole different level, right? So to me, the most important thing is mindset and attitude and collaborative spirit, right? That, I think, is important. Location is incidental, in this whole thing, whether they will be in Sakinaka or and they have a new office. They've just moved to a beautiful new office in Lower Parel. I think they continue from there. We don't see any issues, any problems in working
because
together.
Clearly, digital from being a vertical has to be a horizontal, right? In terms of
That's right.
In terms of the entire creative process, and it has to integrate into the entire FCB way of things.
Pradyuman, exactly to the point. When I joined FCB now 5.5 years ago, we used to have that time an FCB Interactive, right, which was a digital, standalone digital agency, which used to have its own set of clients, and that was exactly my vision. And I said, it doesn't make sense to have a standalone agency, within the group, and this agency had its own clients, but they weren't working on the main clients of FCB. So we integrated that agency into the mainline agency. Currently, the way we work is, we are with Connect as part of the family. We are 1,000 people with almost 400 people in digital, right? So Connect is about 340. We have 60 people already in FCB who are in digital and working with the creative teams, with the planning teams, with the account management team. So they actually report into the mainline heads. So the CCO of each agency has the head of digital reporting in to the CCO, right? So it's not a separate vertical, but obviously Connect is an acquisition, right? So that there's a path to integration over a period of time. And I think the more important thing right now for us is, to look at synergies that we can build together, right? So there will be clients that will be working together, and when we work together on clients, these clients will have a seamless team, right? So that's something that Rohan Chandni and I are completely aligned on, is that we will provide clients seamless teams. Clients don't need to worry whether this is a separate company, this is an acquired company, this is a not so acquired company, or whatever. That doesn't matter.
60 people of FCB, the 60 people who are FCB, right, they'll continue to be part of FCB, or will they shift?
Yeah, they continue to be part of FCB. So they're integrated into our teams right now, right? So this is, this better than everybody else. I mean, you've spoken to so many people. This is an acquisition, and then there is a path to. It doesn't work like that. It's not that tomorrow we will start working as one company.
Yeah, except that as in you have acquired, we've acquired agencies, we've had various other stories, but when it's a 51% equity that you buy, and then you have an earn out versus a minority stake, and that could well go either way as things progress.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but the thing is that if we are taking whether it's a minority stake, we are putting our belief into a company, right? So otherwise you won't be doing even that, quite honestly, in a situation like what the second wave and the devastation it created in India. And I think it visibly damaged the reputation of India in the global stage. Despite that, and with the impending threat of the third wave and the fourth wave or the fifth wave, whatever else is there in store for us, we still went ahead. That in itself is absolute proof of the trust and faith that we have in this company.
Any more acquisitions that you are looking at? Any areas, that buckets that you are targeting at all for the FCB group?
Not really, actually, but Pradyuman, what we've done is, and this is the new reality and the new world that is teaching us these things. We've done a partnership with XP&D. XP&D is the erstwhile CEO of Encompass. Sukrit Singh started his own company of experiential marketing, and I think that whole experiential marketing tied in with digital, because quite honestly, this is a new world of experience marketing where I'm experiencing brands virtually, right? So I'm experiencing brand worlds virtually as well. So how do you actually look at that and convert a lot of those offline experiences online? That's something that they're doing, and we've kind of done a MOU, and we're building that capability and working with them on that, as well as Network Bay, which is a retail specialist, because we've done a fair degree of work with our clients, and Network Bay is basically helping us look at the new retail, and what is the new retail going to be, because there's what we call the customer journey has been disrupted completely. Previously we used to look at, the whole thing of interest to purchase, and the different points of, there's a path to this purchase, and the different points that you need to influence.
Are you glad you didn't acquire them? Because if you had, like some others did, acquire event and
I know. Yeah, but yes and no. But the thing is that this is a new world, and we're all learning, right? So quite honestly, hindsight is gives you you can say
no other interest. PR agency, that's not part of the, as in FCB had a small unit doing PR, but acquiring.
So that was a very, very small unit. We haven't done, but we work with Weber quite actively, and so I think the vision basically that IPG set for us is really about the open architecture, which is the new conversations that we're having with many of our clients, where in the open architecture you're able to access all the group resources freely, and that's something that we are working with and building.
Great. So what next? What are the next 4.5 years are you looking at at the FCB? What's
I like this. I like this 4.5 years. You set a end date. I love it. Yeah, good. That's you are an inspiration, my friend. So you're also setting an end date. I'm sure Carter's not going to be very pleased with that. But yeah, for me, obviously the big a big center focus is going to be our relationship with Connect, to ensure that we build and integrate in a way that helps both the organizations, right? Helps both. One of the things that in my books is an absolute no-no is when you buy or acquire entities and then deface those entities and completely wipe them out, because finally what have you bought, right? Because it doesn't make sense when you destroy acquire revenue. We are not acquiring revenue, right? Here what we are acquiring is capability, and that to my mind is central to our vision going forward is really about building that capability, integrating that capability within the company, and making sure that our clients get the best of that. So that's one big stream. Obviously, the next is really about creativity and continuing that creative journey. The interesting thing is we've redefined as our mission going forward is really about integrating our creative, vision with the new customer journeys. Because what we're saying is that it can't be that today with the pandemic, we will, as we emerge from this, hopefully in the next year, as we emerge from this, we will go back to doing everything the way we were doing, because some of these changes, quite honestly, are permanent. They're not going to, just reverse back like an elastic band and go back to what it was. These have been broken, right? So they've reformed and become something else. So the big thing that we are doing is, looking at this new customer journey, and we've created a tool which is People and Patterns, which looks at the emotional customer journeys and how emotions vary as different stages of the path to purchase, and how brands can connect with those emotions and then build on that. So because you can't connect with points anymore, because points are multiple and you don't know where the points are. You can't say, I'm going to put a point of sale material on this, or this is where he will see the shelf strip. He's not going to see any, or she is not going to see any of that, right? So that's the you need to connect with the emotional wave that is their ups and downs. When it's up, you have to give a different message. When it's down, you need to give a different message. And this, I think, Susan put it beautifully in our last conversation. She said, this whole thing of timeless and timely is really what we are looking at as the big challenge going forward. Is our vision is really creating never finished brand ideas. So that's the whole thing about timeless, and timely is really about making sure that customers, consumers actually see brand messages when they're ready for it across all devices, and influence them, in the most authentic, relevant manner that we could.
Absolutely. And I think that's broadly what an agency should be, because things like technology, etc., will keep changing, and we will be driven by technology. Today, it is a Connect, which started off as a social media agency, which has moved on to other digital media activity. And tomorrow there could be, other things that could perhaps drive the entire marketing services process. So I guess you are on the right path. The question of 4.5 years, and which of course would complete the 10 years, is because in one of your previous jobs, you spent about 21 years at
22 years.
22 years. So you are, as they say, a lambi race ka ghoda. And for Carter, whom I'm going to send this link to, it's he's here for the long haul. So it's important.
You must send this link to Carter. He'll be delighted.
So Carter, I must tell you this, and to you here, FCB is no longer a fuddy-duddy agency. It is what? A killer-diller agency. And all thanks to the great work that is being done by Rohit and the team. The fact that it is now a creative-centric agency. Not that it didn't do creative work in the past. I always felt bad about that Santur girl. I thought she was a girl and she was not one. But so you have done some great creative work in the past. And I think the culture that has changed is interesting to see. And all the very best to you. I'm not going to interview you next after 4.5 years, perhaps sooner and in person. But thanks a lot for your time on a Tuesday. What is a Tuesday morning when I'm doing this interview? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pradyuman, and really a pleasure chatting with you as always. And thank you, I would say, for being the inspiration for our change. Really, thank you so much.
I don't know whether I should take that as a compliment or like a.
No, it is a compliment, right? I mean, I'm saying inspiration can come from anywhere, right? And you set us a challenge, and I think that was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.